Hey, it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk. On this episode, I've got a replay analysis for Banzi Duck. He's in his T-26E4 Super Pershing. It is a Tier 8 American medium tank. It's a premium tank, very slow but highly armored. You can see that it's got extra armor bolted to the front of it right there, which makes it very difficult to take on from the front. He's loaded into Karelia. He's on the defensive side of an assault map, or an assault mode. Top tier in a 3-5-7. This is a great setup for him. There are a couple artillery to deal with, but a great setup to be top tier in a tier 8, which is relatively unusual. If somebody asked me, hey Guido, what is one of the most misunderstood maps and modes of the entire game? And I would say A, assault, and more specifically the defensive side of an assault map on Karelia. Because the more people I see, I'm not saying that right, I see more people camping behind rocks on this mode than probably any other map or mode. And they all want to cluster in this one little quarter of the map right here and hide behind all these rocks here. So I'm going to watch the countdown here with you, and we'll let the players come in, and then watch the chat over on the side right there, because I thought this was interesting. Before we even get started, you can see the mindset of some of your teammates right off the bat. Eventually it will come. Wait for it. Here it comes. Defend. This is not a defense game. Let's take it to them. They got to come to us. Great. So there are at least 2 people here on board with humping rocks. Hide and kill. Dionys is affirmative. I don't know what he was affirmativing. And off we go. So Banzi has said, hey, let's take it to him. This is not a defense game. And that is my point of the discussion about the most misunderstood map and mode. And it goes to the fact that this game is a hit point reduction game, and it doesn't matter what mode it is. It's not a capping game. Nor is it a defend the cap game primarily. It is a hit point reduction game. And the faster you reduce their hit points, the less chance they have to either A, kill you off by reducing yours, or B, somehow get in on the cap. On this map specifically, and I have multiple videos on this, on the defense side, you've got to get up to one of the hills. Now, there's only one of you, so you can't do both. Pick one, whether you're going to go up to the northeast or down to the southwest. Some of it has to do with where you spawn, some of it has to do with your tank. This one is good on both hills, and it's actually quite good on this one, especially if he can start turning the corner up here and go hold down on it. But he's going to run into pretty quickly quite a few tanks. The good news is he's got a KV-3, a T-32, and himself moving up to the hill right here, which is a pretty good force. And then, of course, the complementary and typical and usual campers all sitting back humping a rock in the background, to include a T-34-1. Fantastic. Just not quite aimed on that. You weren't even highlighted there, so just a bit of a gunnery issue for you there, Banzi. You tend to not zoom in quite as much as I do. You might have been able to fine-tune that. I would watch this spot quite a bit. This spot right here is vulnerable to their already sitting back here. They can drop it right into here. They cannot hit you very well up in here, and this is a great little place to tuck into because it does a couple things. It lets you side scrape out and shoot guys who want to come in here. It lets you push into them if they all make a mistake by maybe they all shoot at once and you come around and get a shot on them. It also lights up anything that might be tucked up around here to let your artillery work on them. It's just a great anchor point. And for a tank like this, this spot is a great spot. You all are going to kind of hang out back here a little bit. You are outnumbered a bit, but again, you do have a lot of support back in the back. And this is a pretty good move right here. The Indian Panzer gets tracked, and I think he doesn't try to use his kit right here, or he's already used it. And it's hard to tell exactly what happened, but however it happened, whether he doesn't have a kit or he used it and then got immediately tracked afterwards, because there was kind of a double hit that went in there with, I think, the artillery and somebody from the back. And that's just a miserable feeling right there. He just has no ability to do anything. He is hitting you. I would have probably just backed up. Just enough to where he couldn't get a shot even onto my tracks. I don't even want to be tracked by him. You can still continue to hit him without him even having a shot on you. So I think just a little scooch back would have been good. Because you're outnumbered here and you're starting to beat these guys, you do have to watch out for if they are going to... That just blew me away that went through. It looks like the lower part of the plate. Nice job there. That one went a little left of where you wanted, but you end up getting in there anyway. Back to the outnumbered thing. Eventually they may figure, you know what, we're kind of outnumbered here. We need to come around behind these guys and see if we can scrape them out of this hole, because what they're doing right now isn't working. Now, there's a weak spot on the WZ on those hatches up top, so that probably would have been a better place for you to aim. So I think you're going to try to go through this side plate, or maybe underneath. Maybe looking for a track, it looks like. Nice job moving as soon as you shoot, just to spoil. He's probably trying to get into, just for you folks at home, this little front area below that armor right there into the turret is a weak spot, and that's a lot of times where people will aim at that range. Or maybe trying to get into your machine gun port. And there's that prototype who's come around. You really rush this shot. He already fired, so I'd have come around, zoomed in, keep moving your turret, but aim that just a little bit better. And I've noticed this a couple times. Pay attention to what the enemy is doing, and if they've just fired, you probably have a good opportunity to do a little bit more careful aiming. Now, I'm not saying don't continue to put your front armor towards them, because that was the right idea, and down that guy goes. When I first watched that, I sort of felt like you needed to push into the two guys above you, but because you and the T-32 turned around, that was actually a pretty good deal right there. The T-32 just goes hold down, hiding in this corner. And there's an opportunity again for you to shoot one of those hatches up there. This is going to be another aiming issue. The T-29 is just fired, and you just kind of try to third person it. I'd have aimed right in on that guy and taken a nice aimed shot on him for there. I think your own arty actually comes in here. Initially you're going for that, then you go down a little lower, that's fine. The back of the turret's also a good idea right there. It is curved, so you do have to be careful. I think you just got hit by your own arty right there. Maybe it was the enemy arty, I don't know, but... Oh, there's another arty shot, and that was definitely coming from your own arty. Good job, arty. Holy cow. So nicely done on that corner, that's exactly what you need to do. Get up there. I have other videos on this, but you know what, guys? That is where the experience and the hit points are. So the T-34-1, the WZ-131G, the E-25, the guy who's going to come out of that smelling like a rose with all the hit points and damage and experience is going to be the guys up there like Banzi Duck. Now, can you push a WZ-131G up there? Not necessarily. The T-34-1 could certainly be up there helping out. Better yet, the 34-1 should be on that southwest hill, because the southwest hill affords more maneuver ability for your medium tanks. It's not as easy to hide from things up there, but that other hill requires more maneuver. So Banzi's going to do a nice job coming around the middle. We got to clean these guys up. This is pretty much cleanup on aisle 2. It's very unlikely the enemy team will come back from this unless Banzi's team just drives backwards across the middle, and even then they're probably going to eventually light the guys and kill them off. So off we go. We got a T-34-2G FT on the enemy team. There's an AT-7 just lit up. Swing it over there. Yep, get some shots in there. I'd just stop right there and look for shots, Banzi. I guess you're using this guy's armor or something, but the danger with that is the artillery sees him and ends up popping him. AT's trying to make a little hidey hole out of things. Decent blind shot. I probably would have taken that myself. Tucking up behind the KB3. Again, this gets into clean up on aisle 2 time. Dude, just drive across that. Drive across the middle right there. Maybe you end up being the guy lighting them up and you get some assist damage, or you do light them up and get some shot and assist damage. There's really no reason to hide behind this hole. You also have a reasonable expectation with the armor on this tank that they bounce you anyway. Nice job here, though. You end up taking him down. Good deal. AT-7 gets the Scorpion G, which is probably not the tank I would have driven straight across the open end. But with the Super, absolutely, I'd have just come across there with that guy. There's a shot. We've gone to gold. Probably not a bad decision with the AT-7. And right through him like butter. Right through him like butter. Giving you some side, and boom, there he goes. 2,874, 1,138. Assist, 1,100. We gonna get this guy? Oh, nope, not quite. Sometimes I just shoot those shots and see if it arcs over and gets them somehow. I don't know if he was down below. He may have been down below the ground there or whatever. But nice job, man. Ace tanker, 5 kills, pretty good damage, but a great example of Corellia defense being offensive. So you've got to go get one of those hills. Ideally, go get both of those hills. And then when you're done, you have to make a decision. Do I go back like Banzi did and clean up the middle or clean up any threat to my cap, or do I push back to their cap? I would say about 90% of the time you're going to turn around and go back to your own cap and then deal with guys up on the hill. If you easily win both hills, the southwest and the northeast, and you're just waxing, you can push around behind it, but you probably only want to do that with a medium, a fat, or a faster heavy, because otherwise you'll take yourself out of the rest of the XP and hit points. Another option is to go straight across the middle, like kind of happened here after you clean up the middle. All right, guys, I hope you liked what you saw. I hope you learned something here. Nice game, Banzi. Thanks for sending it in, and as always, we will see you.